Good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 31st, 2022. This is the Urban Hope Refuge Morning Devotions. We are continuing our reading today from the 2022 Daily Bible Reading Guide published by the American Bible Society. This entire month, we have been so blessed reading under the theme God's rewarding word of God's renewing word of mercy and forgiveness. Today, we are in the final chapter of Genesis, chapter 50. We're reading verses 15 through 26. And the sub theme is Joseph reassures his brothers. Verse 15 in the New International Version. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" So they went to Joseph, saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and wrongs they committed in treating you badly. So please forgive the sins of the servants of the God of your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came and threw themselves down before him. "We are your servants," they said. But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. Sub-theme: the death of Joseph. Verse 22. Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years, and he saw the third generation of Ephraim's children. Also, the children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were placed at Joseph on his knee, were placed at birth on Joseph's knee. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I am about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you up out of this land to the land he promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." And Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath and said, "God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. So Joseph died at the age of 110. And after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. This concludes our reading for today of Genesis chapter 50, verses 15 through 26. Again, Joseph has come full circle for his life. He comforted his brothers. Now, why is it that Joseph, being the youngest of all the brothers, was able to comfort his brothers after the death of their father, rather than they comforting him after the death of their father? He was able to do that because, living by faith, Joseph is able to comfort his brothers. Joseph had already forgiven his brothers of their sinful act of selling him into slavery. Going back to chapter 45, Joseph told them, if you would remember in our reading, Joseph told them that God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. That's how he interpreted what they had done to him. God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. Now, Joseph's brothers, however, thought that since their father had died, that Joseph might change his mind about how he felt about them. They were afraid that Joseph had only been nice to them in order to see Jacob again and in order to spare Jacob from more pain. You see how people think? You see how people get things into their own minds that has nothing to do with what the people around them are actually thinking or doing, listen, or even believing. But they get a thought in their mind, and the sad part about it, saints, is not only do they get a thought in their mind of what they think the other person is thinking or doing, but they act on it. That's what makes it so critical. But the scripture said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. He's going to do what he thinks. And that's what Joseph's brothers did. So they thought that now that their father was deceased, that Joseph would take this opportunity to now punish them, to get back to them. With their father gone, they said to one another, if, now listen at the preposition, if Joseph is holding a grudge against us, if, they said, he will certainly repay us for all the suffering we caused him. This is verse 15 that I just read. They are surmising in their own mind, if. So, based upon what they think in their mind, that has nothing to do with what Joseph is doing or thinking, they devised a plan to say that it was Jacob. They said, Please forgive us. When Joseph heard their message, he wept. Joseph wept because his brothers apparently did not believe him when he said he forgave them. They did not believe him. Listen, people respond to what you say and what you do based on themselves and what they would say and what they would do if the shoe was on the other foot. They do not take you in many cases at face value for what you say and what you do, but they judge you by what they would say and by what they would do. Joseph told the brothers that it was God who had ordered the circumstances of his life for good, regardless to what the brothers did. Joseph realized that God had ordered the circumstances of his life. If we don't say any more in the 4 minutes remaining, that is a devotional thought that can take us so far, regardless to what happens in our lives, what kind of sickness come upon our bodies, how our families treat us, the fact that you may have been born out of a situation that was not God's design, but you're here, and it is God who orders the circumstances of our lives. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful nugget to walk away with, because many of us are going through so many challenges and struggles today. Sickness, this pandemic, COVID-19 hasn't gone anywhere. It has caused havoc in the lives of so many, and it still is causing havoc because it is very much alive and active right now. But listen, the comfort and the blessing is the fact that God has ordered the circumstances of our lives. Joseph told them directly, "You planned evil against me, but God planned it for good to bring about the present results that we are experiencing right now, the survival of many people." And that's in verse 20 of Genesis chapter 50. The brothers sinned grievously against Joseph. But listen to this. This is another powerful nugget of this morning devotional. Joseph refused to hold a grudge because he knew God. Not his brothers were in control of his life, but it was God who was in control of his life. Same goes for us today. We don't need to hold a grudge and not forgive, because the person who brought the offense against you is not in control of your life, but it is God who controls your life. So Joseph was able to see the goodness of God at work, even bringing goodness out of the evil of others, listen, why don't you go ahead and forgive? Don't hold any grudges, because there are benefits of forgiveness for the one who forgives. There is freedom for you. You're free to receive every gift that God has for you and to go on and bless somebody else. Don't hold grudges. Unforgiveness is detrimental to the one who refuses to forgive. Now, God said He would take care of the offender, but God is in control of your life. Listen, I want to go on and on. Seem like every day I don't want to stop. But let me tell you, unforgiveness is the burden of the one who refuses not to forgive. So listen, how do we get to that point? We can get there by praying our way through the day, walking with the King, and being a blessing.